everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, SEO Strategy, Keys to Success. It is about the top inbound marketing priorities. This study was done by HubSpot back in September of last year. And you can see the number one inbound marketing priority for most marketers out there is growing their SEO and organic presence. And that's wonderful, except in order to do that, we all have to come together with a great strategy of how we're going to make that happen. So the question I have is, what makes a good strategy? Well, and that's what I hope to answer for you today. The first thing you have to really think about is you have to understand your business. So what are your customers searching for? What is the competition doing? You have to know, for instance, with customers, you have to think about, are the words that you're adding into your search queries, into your keywords that you're adding for SEO, is that really what customers are searching for? So for instance, I work with Toyota Certified Used Vehicles a while back, and Toyota Certified Used Vehicles likes to brand as certified used vehicles, not used cars. But do customers search for that term? Not really. Mostly people are searching for used cars to the tune of 600 times more per month. So you have to think about, how do you incorporate the things, how your customers search, and get in their mind. And then what is your competition doing? Are they doing the same thing? Are they doing something different? You have to find opportunities that maybe your competition is not taking advantage of. And what are industry terms? Like, for instance, cloud computing. When cloud computing was not, before cloud computing was cool, we had a client who said to us, hey, this is going to be an emerging term and we need to use it for ourselves. And no one was using it at the time. So you have to think about what's even an emerging term that you might be needing to use that might not be used today, so that you can build the foundation today. And then ultimately, what are your business goals? And for most of us, it's going to be lead generation and sales, which are the most important. But at the same time, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's just driving, building your email list. It could be simple things. And so whatever those goals are, you have to keep those in mind. And then we're going to incorporate our SEO strategy around those business goals. So an example of what you need to think about with your strategy, here's just one example that I have had to face. Do you gate or not gate your content? I just had this conversation yesterday with someone who was asking me, they're a content creator, and they're like, should I gate it? Should I not? What's the trend? And so should you gate your content? The question you have to ask yourself as content creators and people putting things on your website, you're using it for lead generation purposes and other branding purposes and so forth, is the content really for SEO, number one? That's one of the first questions I ask myself. Or is the content used for lead generation? Or is it both? Can be both. So some of the pros to gating content is that gating content is that, or to using, PDFs as an example for some of your content, is that Google indexes PDFs, which is great long form content. So it's got lots of content in it. But the reality is, some of the cons to that is, if you have your content not gated and Google can get to it, or any of the search engines can get to it, typically your PDFs don't have any navigation on them. So when that happens and someone gets to a PDF through Google, a Google search, then how do they get back to the rest of your site? That's a challenge. Or how do they fill out a lead gen form later? It's a challenge to do that. And search engines can often bypass lead gen forms if you don't build them correctly to block search engines from seeing PDFs and forcing the search engines to go to the lead gen form instead. So there's a little bit of challenge there. So you have to really weigh that. Do I really want this piece of content for SEO, or do I want it for lead gen? What's my purpose? And so you've got to think about that as part of your SEO and lead generation strategy. So this is just one example, and we deal with this at Marketing Mojo. For instance, we had the conversation, do we gate infographics? Do we not gate infographics? Do we gate ebooks? What are we going to gate? What are we not going to gate? And what do we want accessible to the search engines for indexing? So it's something that you as a company, your organization, have to think about and decide whether or not it's the right choice for you. So what is success? What does the path to success look like when you're trying to make your SEO strategy? Again, I come back to integrate your business goals with your SEO strategy. Second is you want to measure the business goals from organic search. So you want to really see that your organic search and SEO is making a difference. That's important no matter what your marketing channel is. But from organic, we definitely want to make sure that it's not just driving necessarily traffic to the site, but more than traffic, maybe converting traffic. And you want to focus your SEO efforts around the keywords and tactics to gain the best visibility to your prospects. So that's something you want to keep in mind as well. So I get this question quite often, And how long does it take to rank in Google results? So I wanted to share this with you